Come in. Ah, you must be the young man that Commander Smith of the United States Navy asked me to see.
Aye, sir. I'm Ned Baker, formerly the mate of the whaling ship, the Nancy.
And I, as you know, am Professor Anthony Aronnax. A pleasure to meet you, Mr. Baker. Oh, but please forgive me. Won't you take this chair here by my desk? You look as if you could stand to get off your feet. 10 days at open sea in a rowboat is hardly a thing that a man gets over quickly, even after a month of rest and care in a hospital.
Thank you, sir. I must admit I still am a bit weak.
Good. Now you're comfortable. Well, Mr. Baker, or perhaps you'll let me call you Ned, you've had quite an adventurous life for a young man. Let me see. According to this dispatch from Commander Smith, you were born in Salem, Massachusetts on June 6th, 1841, which would make you 25 years old. You shipped to sea when you were 12 as a cabin boy on a whaler. You became such a good seaman that you rose to the post of first mate on that same ship by the time you were only 19. And they tell me you're such an expert whaler that you're known by the nickname of King of the Harpoon in every port in New England.
Well, sir, that's right. But after the wreck of the Nancy, the newspapers sort of embarrassed me by mentioning the nickname so much.
I'm sure it's deserved, Ned. Smith told me other things in his dispatch. When you were 20 and the Civil War broke out, you joined the Union Navy, decorated for bravery in action twice. Once in the capture of New Orleans, fighting under Commander Smith himself.
Aye, sir. And then when the war was over, I shipped on the Nancy as her mate. About a year ago.
And, you might add, became the sole survivor of one of the most mysterious wrecks at sea known in the history of man. Well now, Ned, as Smith told you, I'm an expert on fish and other marine life. The Navy's called me in to help investigate the wreck of the Nancy and the wrecking of those 6 other ships since.
6? I thought it was only 5.
No, Ned, 6. One reported only yesterday. But the government's keeping it quiet. The president feels that enough panic's been created up to now by the other wreckings.
I see.
Ned, my boy, in the case of each wreck, the Nancy and all 6 others, the survivors have told of a mysterious sea monster as the agent of destruction. A monster that was like a whale, but one much more huge than a whale. Black, shiny, and with a long, needle-like ram in its front as a snout and nose. But none of the other survivors has been a seaman like yourself. Perhaps your special knowledge as a sailor will give us a clue as to what strange creature we are up against. Please, tell me now what you remember of the wreck of the Nancy.
Well, I'll try best I can, Professor. It happened on a fine morning in late March. The morning was still chill and cold as it can only be in the waters off Labrador. But it was crystal bright and we were in gently rolling waters. We had a good breeze in the sails, and I was at the helm holding the Nancy hard and fast on the track of a good-sized school of whales. The captain had just joined me on deck when suddenly the forward watch yelled a warning.
Reef! Ropes off the port bow! Hard to starboard of a rammer! Starboard! Hard!
I pulled the ship out of danger by what seemed a miracle, just missing what now looked like a small black hill of land set into the waves of the sea. That hill, that reef, it just had not been there seconds before. It had just appeared, just risen from the waves. But there was no time to identify it. A gigantic spout of water fired from the black hulk suddenly hit the Nancy. The ship was pounded worse than in a hurricane. The water felt like it was shot out of a cannon. Several men were swept overboard. Oh, I don't know how I clung to the wheel and kept us from capsizing. Then, abruptly, the spout stopped. And for what seemed many minutes, but was really seconds, the thing seemed to... I don't know how to describe it. To sit there staring at us. And then, suddenly, the thing began to sink from sight, gone as quickly as it had come.
Frightening. Ned, in your description to Smith, you stressed that you don't think this thing, is a whale.
No, Professor. At least not like any whale I've seen. It was too firm, too shiny, almost as if it were made of some kind of metal. It was so smooth on the surface, like it had been made with machines. In fact, it didn't seem to be alive.
That's what some of the others said. Although some of those reports are so hysterical that you could believe this thing was a sea serpent encountered only in the worst nightmares. But go on with your tale.
Well, after the thing disappeared, the sea was calm again. Our surviving hands were struggling with broken masts and torn sails. And then we spotted it again. It was completely under the surface, but there was no mistaking that black shape. Long, perfectly rounded, like a huge cigar, but one with a darning needle in front. And that needle was aimed straight midships of the Nancy. For the first time, my senses realized just how big it was. Twice the size of the Nancy. And then it started at us. The awful needle streaked toward us under the water. It came on with the speed of a bullet, and the thing hit us with the force of an earthquake. The needle, or ram, or whatever it was, slashed a hole the size of a house in our hull, and it slashed right through the ship to the other side. The Nancy split clean in two with the impact and sank within seconds.
Chilling. In all my knowledge of the strange creatures which live in the oceans and seas, I know of none even resembling the thing you tell me of.
But, Professor, as I told you, it doesn't seem even to be alive. Not like even the biggest whale I've seen.
Yes, but there was that spout of water. That could come from a giant whale. Science, however, has never recorded a scrap of evidence about a whale twice the size of a modern whaling ship.
Professor, you won't believe me. I know Commander Smith wouldn't. But I think that the thing is some sort of a ship. A ship that is made of metal and can submerge and sail under the sea.
A ship that can... Ned, that seems incredible. Impossible. To be sure, 4 years ago in 1862, during the Civil War, both the Confederate and Union sides developed armored metal ships. And for over 100 years, there have been various small boats called submarines, which can operate underwater. But those boats are made of wood and only large enough to hold one man, and they can only operate in lakes and rivers, never in the rough waters of the ocean. And the size of the thing that you tell me destroyed the Nancy, why, it would be impossible.
Professor, I can only tell you what I saw and think.
Yes, Ned. That's all you can do. Strange. Well, we shall soon enough see for ourselves. Commander Smith tells me you volunteered to join our expedition to find this, sea monster. So, I shall see you aboard the Navy frigate Lincoln when we sail this Friday. Rest up till then.
Thank you, Professor. I can't say I look forward to the voyage. But after seeing what that submarine, I mean, thing can do. I wouldn't be a man if I didn't try to help Commander Smith and the Navy to stop this menace.
Yes, 7 powerful ships mysteriously destroyed in only a few months, with a terrible toll of lives. A ship that sails underwater. I wonder. Well, meanwhile, till we meet again Friday on the Lincoln, take care of yourself. Goodbye, Ned.
Goodbye, Professor.
Good morning, gentlemen. Professor, Ned.
Morning.
Commander Smith.
Finest weather we've had yet since we sailed 7 days ago. Oh, me. On a morning like this, and with the sea running calmly, one could hardly believe that sea monster we're searching for could exist.
It was a morning like this when that sea monster sunk the Nancy.
Yes, Ned, I know. And we're exactly in the same waters the Nancy was in that day.
Then you've doubled your watch, Commander.
Professor, there have been 6 men on those harpoon guns on the foredeck every minute for the past 12 hours. If the thing we still call a thing appears, by gad, we're ready.
I've warned you, Commander. If that thing appears, those harpoons will bounce off its back like rain bounces off yours.
Oh, that may well be, Ned, but we must see. Now, we have a fine day. I have a fine appetite. Will you join me below for breakfast in my cabin?
Thank you.
Reef off the port bow! Reef off the port bow!
That's the same call the morning the Nancy was...
Well, let's get on deck, gentlemen. This might be it.
Commander, that's it. Off the port bow. Watch out! There's the spout!
Look, it's submerging.
She's positioning to ram us.
Mate, get able-bodied men to man those harpoons. Oh, 6 men washed overboard. And with the speed of a waterfall. Man that harpoon there! Helmsman, hard starboard rudder!
She's coming in to ram us.
Hello? Hello?
Hello!
Ned?
Yes, Professor. Swim this way. I'm on the thing. Here, this way.
Right, Ned. Be ready to help me. I found the commander hurt, unconscious. Here, lift him, Ned. Easy now. There. Oh, that gash in his head's bleeding badly.
Got him. Can you make it yourself, Professor?
Yes, I'm fine. Oh. Now let me see the commander. Breathing heavy but steady. Pulse weak and fast. Yeah, but he'll be all right in a while.
Maybe.
Oh,
But, Professor, we're on the thing.
well, Ned, things went so fast I hadn't noticed. And this thing is made of metal. And there are bolts and rivets. This thing is made of steel.
Shh. Listen.
Huh?
Do you hear sounds? inside it.
Yes. Ned, this thing, it's hollow. And inside something is moving.
Professor, there. The shell is opening. It's a door.
And a man. No, there are others.
Professor, their eyes. Their faces are so strange. Like they were dead.
Those men look drugged to me, Ned. Wait, careful. They're coming toward us. Now keep calm. Don't resist. But if they do anything to the commander, protect him. He can't stand too much more.
Take your hands off me.
Stop that! Stop! We'll go peaceably. You there!
Stop. Pick him up. He's hurt. He's harmless.
Calm, Ned, calm. They know what we're saying, and I don't think they mean to harm us. Yet. They are drugged some way. You notice that they don't speak, but they hear and understand. Calm now. Take us inside. See, Ned, it's working. That's it. Pick up that man, too.
Professor, it is a ship. A submarine ship. And look, it's filled with motors and machinery.
You were right, Ned. Wait there. Put that man down easily.
You animal. Put him down gently or I'll...
Steady, Ned.
I've still got my fist, you...
Release my servant. Toto, Boro, seize this stranger. Now, young man, who are you?
Wait, Ned, I'll answer that. We, sir, might ask that question of you. But since we seem to be your guests, let me answer that the young man whom your servants are manhandling is Ned Baker, once mate of a ship called the Nancy, a ship which this strange vessel of yours seems to have sunk in months past. The man lying unconscious over there is Commander Smith of the United States Navy.
Ah, the United States Navy.
Yes, and I am Professor Aronnax, Anthony Aronnax.
Aronnax. Oh, the expert on oceans and marine life.
You flatter me that you know my name. But now, Mr. Captain...
Captain Nemo, the commander of the undersea ship, the Nautilus.
May I ask what you propose to do with this Captain Nemo?
That we shall see. Toto, Boro, you can let go of that sullen young man there. What do I propose to do? Well, Professor, you realize that you are prisoners. And I believe your ship, with the battered Captain Smith over there, was sailing in these waters to sink my vessel. Thus, it's simple. That was an act of war. So you are prisoners of war.
No civilized nation makes war this way. An underwater ship. No civilized...
Don't talk to me of civilized and civilization. Don't talk to me of the society of the world above these seas, the civilization of the land. I'm through with that. Through with it, do you hear me? But that is a matter that perhaps we'll discuss another day. What to do with you? Well, you're in my ship. I did not wish that to happen, but fortunes of war. You're here. Here you'll stay. You shall be treated well. In fact, you, Professor, may be very useful to my work. But I make it plain now, gentlemen, you will never be allowed to leave this ship.
And the alternative?
There is no alternative. But now I must leave you. The commander will be cared for. You two will be given a cabin. Sleep well, gentlemen. You must be tired from your, moments in the water this morning. We shall meet in my cabin tonight for dinner. Ah, my uninvited guests. Did you sleep well?
Thank you, Captain Nemo, we did. But still, I must...
What? Protest? I said that you are here, and here you stay. Might I suggest that instead you, relax? I wish to show off the wonders of my ship to you. A little bit of boastful pleasure, you know. Come with me now. It is not often that I have the opportunity of, showing off this way. First, gentlemen, behind this steel door, my library.
Remarkable. Why, it's immense. Those huge shelves.
Ah, yes, huge. And filled with over 15,000 books.
Amazing. But the room is also so beautifully decorated. Those leather chairs, that finely carved oak desk, the bronze lamps, this thick carpeting on the floor.
Several special volumes on the sea that you will find over here will interest you, Professor. They're quite rare. But, come, let us visit the little art museum next door. Here we are. The walls, gentlemen, filled with masterpieces painted by the world's great artists. There, a Rembrandt. There, a Michelangelo. Oh, yes, and in that corner is a fine statue by Leonardo da Vinci. But, Professor, while it might bore our young sailor friend Ned, let me show you my cases over here of rock specimens and other curiosities which I've gathered from the floors of the sea around us. And here, gentlemen, is my living room, which unfortunately must also serve as a dining room. My next ship will be larger, I assure you.
But, Captain Nemo, this is a vast room.
I suppose so, but I am spoiled. I long for a ship with all the comforts. Ah, this will interest you, gentlemen. Over here. I see you can't believe your eyes. Yes, an organ. A pipe organ. Small, only 300 pipes. But wait, listen to the tone. Out of practice. Too busy with this private war of mine. But gentlemen, there at the other end of the room, one of my servants is beckoning us to dinner. All of our food, gentlemen, comes from the seas around us. But I think you will be amazed at the variety of tastes. Come, let us sit. By the way, might I ask you to remain silent while we eat? I have a little peculiarity. I like to meditate while I dine. Well, that was delicious. Do you agree, gentlemen?
Extraordinary. Such variety. Even something which tasted like a fine steak. And that fruit, or whatever, for dessert.
Yes, the sea provides. And you, Ned, what did you think?
A fine dinner, sir. But now that you've broken your silence while eating, what about the commander?
The commander is fine. He's resting in the ship's sick bay. Resting well, mending well with some of our good news seaweed medications. You'll see him soon. And now, Professor, what do you think of my ship?
As I've said 100 or more times today, Captain Nemo, it's remarkable. But may I ask how you can sink below the surface of the ocean and rise again as you wish?
Galvanism, electricity, electrical power. Scientists on land are already experimenting with it to harness its energies. But I have already found the secret of this powerful force. Electricity powers this ship, this submarine of mine, and it is all controlled from that panel there near the door.
Electricity. Amazing. And the food from the sea. How do you get the food? Where do you get the very air we are breathing?
The air? That's simple. We rise to the surface every 48 hours and gather it in great storage tanks. Then we release it as it's needed. The food? Come, gentlemen. I will show you the wonders at the bottom of the sea where my ship now rests. Here we are, gentlemen. A giant porthole, like a huge bay window. Beyond it, darkness. Until I throw this switch.
Remarkable. Oh, my.
Gasp, if you will, gentlemen. I have flooded the floor of the sea with light. Electric light. Yes, you see fish swimming in the waters out there, but more, you see the fields and the forests of the sea.
The fields and the forests of the sea.
Yes, Professor. And in those fields and forests grows all that we have just dined upon.
How do you gather the food?
My crew has become adept at that.
Well, you couldn't drug men that much that they wouldn't drown.
Professor, you've discovered the secret of my crew. Yes, they are drugged. A drug I myself invented, just as I invented everything that runs this ship. The drug renders the men into dumb, beast-like creatures. Those men now are useful only to respond to orders, to obey like dumb animals, but human animals. It's unfortunate that I have had to do this to them, but I needed the sailors to fight my war.
Your war, Captain Nemo. That's twice today you've mentioned your war. What in the name of everything decent can that be?
Decency? More about civilization. Don't tell me about that, Professor. I've seen your civilization. Brutalities, ignorance. Even scientists like you inventing new weapons using your knowledge toward ends of death.
Occasionally, even decent men must fight wars to protect their countries and the ideas they hold dear.
Well, I too hold my ideas dear. And I, Nemo, I shall personally wage a war to end all wars. I have had reason to hate war. Up there, I lost a wife, 3 children, in a senseless war. And now, I, the greatest scientist in the world, will show others what war is. Do you think that this ship of mine is the be-all and end-all? You're wrong. This is the beginning. I have plans well advanced for a ship that flies.
A ship that flies?
Yes, and one that will be capable of dropping bombs on every city in the world. Simple. We are building that airship on this very submarine. When it is built, I need only sail this vessel to any coast of any continent in the world. The submarine will surface, the airship will take off, drop its load of bombs, return to fly again. And soon every government in the world will apply to me, Nemo, for peace. Total, permanent peace. I have ideas. Great ideas. But, gentlemen, the hours tire one, even here, 20,000 leagues under the sea, where there is no day and no night, only eternal darkness. Toto! Boro! Escort these gentlemen to their cabin. Again, sleep, Professor, Mr. Baker. In the morning, I have a surprise for you. We 3 shall join a party of our men, and I shall take you out into those fields and forests of the sea, which you have seen. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I hope you breakfasted well on the food I had sent to your cabin.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Capital. Now, gentlemen, I must warn you. I overheard your conversations last night. Oh, I have ways. Your cabin is wired so that I heard your every whisper. 2 things. My crew, my silent servants, will obey some of your minor requests, but they will not help you as you hope they might. The drug they have been given renders them my slaves. And as for me, you said you think me a madman. Perhaps I am, gentlemen, but also a genius. I told you that you are my prisoners. Perhaps you, too, would like a dose of the drug? That is a warning. You remain my guests only because you, Professor, might still prove valuable in helping me with my work.
I think we understand, Captain Nemo.
Excellent. We agree. And now let me show you the special suits we use to leave the ship and walk the floor of the seas. Watch those men over there put on their gear. Follow them as they do and do the same. Here are suits for you. Crew, attention! Don sea diving equipment. That's right, Professor. Close the flaps of your waterproof suit carefully. Now, Mr. Baker, this helmet of glass that covers your head and face is for sealing out the water. This tube attached to that tank on your back brings you air. The lamp on the helmet acts like a searchlight outside. Now, all prepared? Shall we set out? We'll first pass through a door which will shut tightly behind us. The room we shall be in is watertight until I open that. Then we shall climb out onto the ocean floor. When we return, the room will be pumped out and we can enter the ship safely.
How do we communicate outside? With hand signals?
No, Professor, your helmet is equipped with a sound device, which works on electrical batteries. I call it a radio. Each of our suits has a switch, here. When we wish to talk, merely press that once. And now, last but very important, our portable electric harpoons. Some of our friends outside, the fish, are large and not really friends. The harpoons work like a rifle. Pull this trigger, and, Mr. Baker, Professor, please do not get any ideas about using your harpoons on me. Remember, Captain Nemo dead would leave you helpless 20,000 leagues under the sea. Well, ready? Crew, to the exit room. Come, gentlemen.
Miraculous world at the bottom of the sea. Strange weeds, the height of the trees on land. Succulent small vegetable-like plants beneath your feet. Food the world above on land never dreamed existed. Careful, gentlemen. The crew is more experienced than you. That cave there is the lair of a huge octopus. Many of them in this area. Now, gentlemen, behind this gate-like piece of rock, you will see one of my true wonders.
Nemo, it's a building. A temple like the Greeks built centuries ago.
Yes, a temple. You stand in the lost continent of Atlantis, the continent that thousands of years ago sank beneath the sea, lost to man, until I found it. And that temple there is filled with gold. Lucky I found it, too, because all of the wealth I had back on land went to build my submarine. But now, with the gold of Atlantis, there's nothing that I will not be able to buy for my war. Perhaps I will build another submarine. Perhaps you, Professor, will join me, and you, Mr. Baker, will be his captain with a second ship. With a second ship I can... Octopus! Crushing me! Quick! Help!
Don't go closer, Professor. It'll get you, too. I have the position for aiming the harpoon. Wait. It's moving more slowly now.
Hurry!
Wait.
Hurry! I'm strangling! Don't miss, Ned, or it's the end for us all. Bullseye, Ned! King of the harpoons! Quick! Nemo seems all right, but he's badly shaken. Hurry! Let us get back aboard.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm better now, as you can see. And I must thank you, especially Mr. Baker, for your aid to me yesterday in killing that octopus. I'm not always so careless. I was so intent on showing the professor the wonders of Atlantis that I forgot myself. Usually more wary.
You can thank me by giving us all our freedom.
Temper. Let you go free and let the world in on the secret of how I will wage war against it. Mention it again, Mr. Baker, and I might forget my debt to you. Come, let's have breakfast. I have another surprise for you, and here it is. Welcome, Commander Smith.
Ned, Professor.
You're better?
Oh, fine, Professor. This madman's medicines did me wonders.
Madman. There's that word again. I prefer, as I told you, to call it genius. Come now, gentlemen. Commander, breakfast calls us. And as a special treat later, you may join me on deck when we surface to store up air.
Alone at last. That maniac.
Shh, quiet, sir. He has some way of detecting sounds.
No, Ned, not in this passageway. Now, listen carefully. We haven't a moment to spare. In a few minutes, Nemo will return from the controls of the ship. We are in the process of surfacing now, but we have just time to arrange our escape.
Well, how, Professor? Even if we get away from this accursed vessel, we're hundreds of miles from nowhere. No boat, no...
Listen quickly, Smith. The day Nemo wrecked our ship and we climbed aboard this submarine, I spotted a small boat secured to the stern of the submarine. Now, if we could get that boat, would you brave the possibilities of days lost at sea just to be rid of Nemo? Especially if we destroy Nemo and his foul submarine.
Of course, but how?
I've thought it out to the split second. This panel here, with all the buttons and dials and lights, is the master control for the electrical supply of the vessel. Nemo pointed it out last night before dinner. Now, if I pull this wire from here, I have short-circuited one supply of energy. Now, attach the wire here.
Professor, I don't understand.
One day, my boy, if we live, I'll explain to you what I know in my faulty knowledge of this new science of electricity. Precious little I do know, but I think I figured this. Wait now, this wire to this button. Now, set this clock. 8. No, we'll allow 10 minutes. Done. Smith, Ned, I have now wired this panel to that clock so that the sea door will open automatically in exactly 10 minutes. We'll be on deck by then. Once the water gets into the ship, it will reach the electrical generator, chlorine gas will form, and a monstrous explosion should take place. We must be clear of the ship by then. When we get on the deck, we must get that boat and be away. Overpower Nemo. Bring him along if you can.
But won't we be under guard by the crew?
I doubt that, Smith. Look down that passageway. The crew has been assembled at those huge wheels since breakfast started. All of them. I counted carefully. I think those wheels work the pumps for the air tags. No, I think Nemo will be alone with us. But that's a chance we must take. I can't disconnect this wire now.
Watch it. Here he comes.
Well, gentlemen, we have surfaced. Now, a little sea air. Up that ladder there.
We are alone. Grab him, Ned, quick! Smith, help me with the boat. Come on.
He's out, Professor. Hit his head on the bulkhead.
Help with the boat. Get him later.
This blasted bolt is jammed.
Hurry! 3 minutes are left. We must cast off by then or we'll be blown off the face of the sea.
Got it. Careful now. Don't lose the oars. All right, cast off.
Nemo! You fool! Wait! Oh, stop him, Ned! He's crawling back into the ship!
Nemo, come back! This ship will explode in 2 minutes!
I'll outwit you yet!
Watch it, Ned! The door is closing! Quick, Ned! He's gone. Get back to the boat.
Pull away hard on the oars. Hurry! 1 minute to go!
Are you hurt, Professor?
Some, Smith. Ned, what about that arm?
Oh, flying metal, Professor. Not bleeding much.
Look back there. The debris from Captain Nemo's fantastic submarine is just coming to the surface. Oh, if that man had only used his mind for the good of science. He was a century ahead of us in thinking. Yes, he was a maniac. But he was what he called himself, a genius.
Mission accomplished.
Professor, Commander. Look, this locker. Here are a mast and sails. And food. And water. Maybe we'll be home sooner than you thought.
Good boy, Ned. You'll get another medal for this, you know.
The way he's rigging that sail, he should have a medal for seamanship, too. Look, gentlemen. The sun's coming out from behind those threatening clouds. Oh, it looks as if we've a fine day for sailing. Set her for home, Ned, and God speed us on the way.